We see a lot of companies that have a very impressive demos. They believe that they can just use a prompt and everything will work correctly. And it is really easy with the current stage of AI to create an agent that works well 70% of the time. Companies mistakenly think that if they have something that works 70% of the time, they will just need a little effort and they will bring it to 98%. And this is really, really tough. Creating something that is reliable enough so that you will be able to trust it and put it in front of your end customers is a lot more difficult than creating a demo.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the AI InterConnect podcast. I'm your host, Laurent. Today, I'm speaking with someone who understands both the promise and the reality of AI inside sensitive and regulated company. We have with us Chen Markman, CEO of Avon AI, and Chen comes from a deep technical and strategic background, Pagaya, Dream Security, and now he's building Avon AI to help companies deploy and manage GenAI agents like real operational teammates. Chen, thanks for joining. Great to finally have you on the show.
And thank you very much for having me. This is an honor. And thank you very much.
The honor is mine. This is great. We are in Tel Aviv today. And let's start with your background. You spent years inside Israel elite technology ecosystem. As I said, defense, research and development, and Pagaya, Dream Security. You mentioned in our call that these experiences shaped how you see AI system inside real organization. Can you walk us through the key moments that define your path before founding Avon AI?
Definitely. So I started my career, as you said, like a lot of Israelis, in the defense community, in the IDF. In Israel, joining the army is not optional. So all of the people are joining the army. And I served in an elite unit called the Talpiot with a lot of talented people around me. After the army, I worked for a company called Pagaya, which is an Israel a fintech company that is traded in the Nasdaq. There, we did a lot of research around machine learning. In machine learning, it is obvious that you cannot simply train a model and put it in the field and forget about it. You need to constantly monitor the performance of your model in the field, and you are constantly making changes and adjustments to keep your model relevant, because reality is dynamic. And after Pagaya, I managed the AI group in a very good company, in an amazing company called Dream Security. We did a lot of work around agentic AI, around LLMs for cybersecurity, doing stuff that were previously really hard to do. And now that we have LLMs and GenAI, we're able to do them. And again, we saw that AI is not a plug and play type of a solution. You are building a system, and then you are deploying the system to the field. But reality is changing all of the time. This is really like reality is the worst enemy of the AI researcher. So reality keeps changing over time. And if you want to maintain the quality of your product over time, we saw that it is crucial to constantly monitor the performance in reality and then make the adjustments as needed. And I think that this has really shaped our views around real-life uses of AI systems. We see a lot of demos, a lot of POCs, a lot of initiatives around GenAI agents. And I think that not enough people are investing the effort in what happened after you deploy the capability to the field. I really believe that this is the key to successful deployment over time.
Okay, very, very interesting. Okay, let's dig into all these. When you think back to Pagaya and Dream Security, what did those roles teach you about risk, oversight, and running AI system at scale?
So when I think about Pagaya, for example, we developed a model. But if you think about the workforce, about machine learning experts that are actually working on the product, I think that most of the people were not developing new models. Most of the people were working in monitoring and on making sure the models keep behaving the way we want them to behave over time. I think this is a key insight. Sometimes in the world of agentic AI, everything looks simple. Like I will just write a prompt, it will do everything. But basically, we are in the same statistical world in which the statistical nature of reality and the lab is different. So we need to constantly change our models and our products in order to keep being aligned with reality. And I think this is something that we saw, that we experienced ourselves.
Yeah, that makes sense. You also told me in our prep call that most company talk about AI but struggle to actually deploy it. When did you first notice the gap between experimentation and real production?
Yes. So first of all, both me and my co-founder is named Amit Segev, and he's also come from managing AI groups. I will give an example from his experience. So he managed the AI and data department in a bank called 10 Bank. This is a digital first bank. And I think they were one of the first banks in the world to deploy a real Gen AI chatbot to the field that is now solving most of the conversations or most of the engagement processes with customers end to end. So it is amazing. What we see a lot of noise around Gen AI. We see a lot of demos out there, a lot of companies or organizations that claim to work on agentic AI. But if you think about yourself as an end user, most of the companies you are interacting with don't deploy high quality agentic AI products yet, especially in sensitive industries, in industries in which the cost of a potential error is high. So think about insurance companies, financial organizations, banks. Um, in those areas, I think the distance between the promise of AI and actual deployment is the biggest.
Then, yeah, okay. Want to go deeper, let's move to Avon AI. You mentioned you started a company early 2025. What problem did you and your co-founder see that convinced you this needed to exist now?
Right. So both me and my co-founder, we built AI agents in different industries. I built agents for the cybersecurity industry, and my co-founder built agents for the banking industry. And we saw, first of all, the biggest challenge we saw is the gap between the promise of AI and actual deployments. And this is the challenge that we are facing. How can we help more and more companies actually deploy Gen AI capabilities to the field? So this is the problem that we are solving. And what we saw several things. First of all, we saw that several companies are able to deploy high quality Gen AI agents to the field. If you think about companies like Lemonade or Klarna, some companies have successfully deployed really high quality AI agents. And what we saw is, first of all, those companies spend a lot of effort into the processes after deploying those agents. So as an end customer, it looks like magic. It just works. But they have a lot of engineers, they have a lot of domain experts that are constantly working to keep the high quality of those products over time. So this is the first thing we saw. The second thing we noticed is that all of the companies that have successfully deployed are really tech-focused companies. So think about an insurance company like Lemonade, are really tech-focused company, or Klarna as well. So they have, first of all, the talent and the culture to manage really sophisticated software products in the field over time. But we want to allow more and more companies, even more traditional companies, to actually deploy. So we need to provide them with the tools to perform all of those tasks that you need to do after deploying the agent. Tasks like monitoring the performance of the agents, find problems, understand the root cause for those problems, trying to solve those problems, and to make sure that the changes that you made are good enough, are robust, and the agent is behaving the way you want it to behave. So we need to provide other companies with the tools to perform all of the tasks needed to be done after deploying the agents.
Okay, I love it. Then let's break down the platform itself. If someone hearing this asks, "What is Avon AI?" How would you explain it in simple terms?
I think that the best way to describe it is maybe to compare it to human-based customer service organization. If you think about a traditional customer service organization, you have people that are actually interacting with your end customers. Those employees have managers and supervisors. They are listening in on their conversations. They find problems and they give feedback to the employees in order to improve their performance for the future. Other than that, you have dedicated teams who are collecting information from all over the organization and make this information accessible to the representatives that are actually speaking with your end customers. And those organizations have training capabilities. So whenever you have a new product or whenever you are training a new employee for your organization, you need to train them and test them before you let them speak with your end customers. We're trying to imitate all of those processes and bring them to the world of agentic AI. We treat AI agents like new type of employees in the organization. And we understand that in complex cases like insurance, banking, financial organizations, you need to have a manager that comes from the domain who is going to manage this new type of employee, the AI agent. And this manager needs the tools to perform their work. They need tools to monitor the agents to make sure that they are behaving the way they wanted them to behave, to make sure there is no crisis ahead. They need tools to retrain the agent, to teach them new stuff. And they need tools to test after they are trying to teach them new stuff that they are acting the way they want them to act. We are trying to provide a whole platform that is going to be used by the AI manager to actually monitor and control the behavior of agents after deployment. The users of our systems, of our platform, are companies that want to deploy GenAI capabilities to the field and for which trust and accountability are crucial. So they understand that they need to monitor and actually control what their agents are doing. And those are the companies that we are after.
Okay, then what does oversight look like for an AI agent? Or what does monitoring look like? And what about governance and control?
Definitely. So you need to monitor the agents and you need to find several things. First of all, you want to make sure all of the conversations or the agent is making conversations the way you want them to be held. You are trying to find cases in which a conversation is getting into a loop, and you are trying to find cases in which the customer is asking the same question over and over again using different language, and they don't get what they want. So you are trying to find all sorts of problems in the conversation that are general. Other than that, from the governance point of view, each business is unique, and for each business, they want to make sure that the agent is doing the specific tasks they want it to do. So each business using our platform can make sure, for example, that whenever an agent is speaking about investment, it gives the appropriate disclaimer to make sure that the agents are actually compliant and working according to the flows that you want them to work according to. And by the way, it's really important. We see that agents very fast, they have thousands of conversations every day. No one can go over all of those conversations manually. So you need a system that will help you put your attention on the most problematic conversations or most problematic interactions. And this is crucial.
You mentioned before the AI, the manager of AI. It's a human, correct? Or it's another AI?
So it's a great question. According to our philosophy, the manager of the AI agent should be a human. So we don't want to replace all of the human beings in the organization. We want to empower business leaders and enable them to bring their experience and their domain expertise to managing other types of employees in the organization. So we don't want to replace all of the humans. We think it's not feasible and this is not the right way to go, especially in complex environments like insurance and financial.
This is clear. Okay, great. Let's talk about barriers. And what are the top challenges that regulated companies face when they want to deploy conversational agents or autonomous assistants?
So there are several challenges. I think the thing that worries the most is that Gen AI is a very open technology. You're deploying it to the field and you don't know what it might say to your customers. Will it promise something that is out of your policy? Will it speak about your competitors? Will it speak about politics? So companies are really afraid of deploying those type of very open systems out there. And I think trust is a major barrier for adoption. And we're trying to solve or to help companies overcome this barrier by allowing them a lot more control over the agents. We believe that if you let them understand what the agent is doing and you let them control what the agent is doing, they will be able to trust it and therefore deploy it. This is, I think, one of the major barriers for adoption.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And okay, and then a lot of our audience works in prop tech, fintech, and real estate finance. These sector manage sensitive data and compliance-heavy workflows. Where do you see AI agent fitting into those industries?
So I think that you can use Gen AI agents in those industries. We see that even banks, if you are working correctly, you can deploy Gen AI and you don't need to be afraid of it. You can start by providing, for example, general information, then move over to specific information about a specific user, and then perform tasks. And you can gain trust during the process. But I have to say, even providing general information in a bank or an insurance company can be risky. So you need to monitor and you need to make sure that you are not promising something that is not in your policy. You are not, if a customer asks, for example, an insurance company, if he's covered for a specific, you are going to be accountable for what your agent is saying. Otherwise, people are not going to use the AI agent and they're going to call a representative. So there are still some challenges there, but the technology is there. So even 2 years ago, the technology was there. If you build your agent and monitor them, you can.
Yeah, it's a little bit like my custom ChatGPT assistant that I told her no hallucination and don't lie, and then she repeat all the time, I'm gonna make it straight. It's a little bit like this, I guess, in order to canalize them.
Definitely. And I think that even if you are able to create a personal GPT that works correctly, if you deploy to the field, and reality keeps changing, reality is dynamic. You sometimes need to add more capabilities. You will want to add more data. The type of things you are going to ask your agent is going to change over time. So even if an agent works correctly now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will work according to your preferences in 2 months' time. So it is crucial to constantly monitor and adjust the behavior. Otherwise, it will not work.
Okay, this I didn't know, and I will make it on my little scale by my best. Okay, too. Also, the biggest mistake companies make when they assume AI is plug and play.
Yeah, so we see a lot of companies that have very impressive demos. They believe that they can just use a prompt and everything will work correctly. And it is really easy with the current stage of AI to create an agent that works well 70% of the time. Companies mistakenly think that if they have something that works 70% of the time, they will just need a little effort and they will bring it to 98%. And this is really, really tough. Creating something that is reliable enough so that you will be able to trust it and put it in front of your end customers is a lot more difficult than creating a demo. By the way, it wasn't always like that. If you think about regular software development, the distance between a working demo and an actual product was sometimes a lot shorter than in the world of AI. And I think that sometimes things look really easy. You can use a prompt, you can use like a out of the box AI agent. It looks quite good after several hours of tinkering with it. But the distance between this and actual deployment is very big. I think this is one mistake. Another mistake is sometimes companies, I tell some of my customers, you are thinking too hard about the use cases your customers are going to have. Sometimes you need to deploy something and then check what your customers are really interested in, because we are always surprised by what our customers are really interested in. Like deploying something swiftly and then actually measuring and testing what is interesting for my customers, I think it's really important.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, let's give listeners something concrete. Where do you see AI agent already working well today? And then you have two examples with your partner and yourself. And where do you expect adoption to grow faster in 2026?
So I think that most of the agents today are working internally inside companies as a co-pilot or as an internal assistant. Most of the companies are not deploying very open conversational AI agents to their end customers yet. But I think a lot more companies are going to deploy in 2026. I think that almost all of the companies are speaking about deployment in 2026. And I think it will start with simpler cases like or cases in which the cost of a potential error is not that high, maybe online retail and industries like those. Insurance companies and financial organizations, health organizations are going to be next.
Okay, sounds good. Then what are the most common tasks that GenAI can take over reliably, and which tasks will require human oversight no matter what?
Yes. So I think that people are using Gen AI. I will separate it into two categories. The first one is agentic workflows. Those are processes that we used to call it automation, but now AI agents are a lot more capable. So you will be able to automate a lot more internal processes with AI. This is one type of AI product. The other type is conversational AI. Um, Systems that are interacting with some other entity. It may be an internal user or your end customer. And I think there are unique challenges when you are speaking about conversational AI. Mainly, there is another entity that you have no control over. You don't know and you can't expect what the other side is going to say. And in those cases, it is extremely important to constantly monitor what your agent is doing in reality with real users, because real users are going to surprise you.
Yeah, yeah, and you want to correct the mistake very, very fast to avoid a disaster.
Definitely. And we've seen cases in which an AI agent sold a truck for $1, or an AI agent sold a flight for $0. And we've seen those cases, and those are only the ones that got publicized. There
Yeah,
are
of course. Okay, then, scaling agents is not a technical challenge alone. It's organizational, cultural, and even operational. Based on your experience, what does a successful company do differently when they scale AI agents across department?
Yeah, so I think that the key is to get people from the business side involved in the process. I think that successful companies understand that Gen AI is not only a technical effort, as you said, it is an organizational effort. And it is crucial to bring people from the business side abroad, like on board, and they need to be active part in managing those agents because they know the business the best. And I've seen it over and over again. Companies that are successfully deploying, they have business teams that are taking active part in managing those agents. And they're looking, they're monitoring conversations, they are opening tickets for the engineers or research departments to solve cases that they see in deployment. So I think this is, as you said, it is an organizational effort. It's not something that one team is building and deploying and the rest of the company is not involved in.
Yeah, no, no, definitely. And you mention it. Not only engineer must be included into. I mean, at reverse, business team should be included into this engineer talk, and to bring the everybody in the loop. That's understandable. And what competency do you need to work alongside AI agents?
Um, yeah, so I think the main competency they need is to understand the business. And what we've seen is that we call them AI managers, people who are managing those new type of AI employees. We see people that are quite, they can control technology, but they don't have to be developers. And we see that people who come from managing service teams or customer service teams, and they are quite technical and can perform this task very successfully.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. Love it.
By the
Let's look
way,
ahead.
I think
Please.
that it can change some roles in the organization. People who used to manage people are going to manage Gen AI agents. Um, and I think this is a new role that is going to come up in organizations more and more.
Okay, then it would be like a human manager, and my team is only AI agents.
Definitely,
That's correct.
or a combination. You're going to manage 3 AI agents and 2 employees.
Ah, yeah, of course. Wow. Which one will be jealous of the other one? Okay, love it. Okay, that's great. Let's look ahead. How do you think enterprise AI governance will evolve over the next 12 to 36 months?
Yes. So first of all, it is really hard in today's AI environment to give predictions, but things are changing on a day-to-day basis. Yes, very fast. But I think the main change is going to be the amount of deployments, and I think that a lot more companies are going to deploy and actually experience the challenges of controlling and making sure those agents are compliant over time. And up until now, mostly like early adopters have really faced the challenges of putting this very open technology out there. And I think a lot more companies are going to really experience it, and a lot more companies like ours are going to come up in the next 2 or 3.
Okay. Okay. Then let me ask you these three questions. Do you expect more autonomous agents or more human in the loop systems, or where do you see the balance in going over there?
So first of all, I think that we are going to have a lot more agents, like period. And agents are going to be better and better. But as you will onboard more agents to your organizations, you will need to spend more effort into managing them, even if they are going to be better and they will need less monitoring and less active management when they are working. Just because you are going to operate a lot more agents, and I think that once companies are going to gain more trust in their AI agents, they are going to assign more sensitive tasks to their agents. So they will still like or need to monitor them because those agents are going to perform more and more tasks and even more sensitive tasks.
Yeah, it would be more sensitive, more technical, maybe, and the manager will need to be more technical, more educated, more and more, I guess.
Definitely, they will be a bit more technical. They will understand the technology. But by the way, we are seeing it right now with our customers. We see that it is people that are even a bit technical. They can learn and manage agents because young people are they understand technology, and they can simply do it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just love it. How will AI reshape industries like real estate finance, mortgage operation, property management, or investment analysis?
So I think that most of, again, it is really hard to predict, but I think that most of the like tier one processes are going to be automated. But I think that tasks that require more reasoning are still going to be managed by humans, at least in the very near future. But it's really hard to predict what's going to be in 3 years' time.
Yes.
But definitely the tier one um, tasks are going to be automated. And we are starting to see it more and more. And there is no reason for a human to answer the same question for 100 customers every day.
You've had a long, intense career path, and even though you're very young, but Talpio, defense, fintech, cyber, now you're a founder. What has surprised you most about building an AI company in 2025?
First of all, I think what is surprising is the amount of noise out there, because there are a lot of AI companies. Each one is tackling challenges from a different angle. So, like the amount of noise in the market is surprising. And I think another thing that is surprising is I think the gap between between the hype, basically, between demos, between what you see on YouTube and in conferences, and the actual reality of real businesses. And I think that a lot of businesses are still quite reluctant to deploy Gen AI, but I think that almost all of the businesses are on the way to deploy Gen AI. But still, with all of the hype around Gen AI, I think there is still a large gap between the promise and actual deployment.
What is the hardest part of building Avon AI, and what is the most rewarding part?
And first of all, it is really rewarding. Like building something that was not previously in existence is very
Yeah,
rewarding. I think one of the more exciting things I've experienced is actually seeing people that are coming from customer service using my platform to manage Gen AI agents. I think it happened to me several times this year, and it was amazing. And you can really see the change that you are making. And there are a lot of challenges. We started Avon and we are targeting, I think, the most challenging use cases. We've started with banks, we've started with insurance companies, financial companies, health organizations. So we are starting with the most challenging cases. And I think there are a lot of challenges in working with those companies. Working to sell to an enterprise, it's a lengthy process. And definitely, there are a lot of challenges in this regard.
definitely. And if you could give one clear message to CEOs who are trying to understand AI, what would it be?
I think it would be that an AI system is not magical, it is still software. You need to work hard in order to deploy it successfully. But then it can be amazing. It can transform your business. But you need to put in the effort into managing it over time.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, it comes back to this last question of before, is there anything is there anything you want our listeners to take away about the future of AI agents and how enterprises should prepare themselves?
And so I think enterprises and users, we are going to see a lot more AI agents out there. I think the um, companies that will succeed are companies that are going to treat it, as you said before, as a company-wide effort and not as an effort of a specific technical department. And I think that we are going to see a lot more agents around us in the upcoming years.
This okay. Um Chen came how do you pronounce it exactly? Your name?
Chen, yeah,
It's easy for
Dutch
me, yes.
people.
But French people also should, I mean, even my name, Laurent, can thank you so much. And this was a powerful and very, very clear breakdown of what the future of managed AI AI agent look like. And I really appreciate your openness and your time. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm really glad that you had me on your podcast.
And where does people can find your work or yourself?
Yes, we have a website. It's www.avon, A-V-O-N, hyphen AI.com. And you can also find me on LinkedIn and my company on LinkedIn.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'd love to have another conversation of that, like you with you, maybe in a year from now. And it will be another word, I'm sure, already.
Definitely, I
Thank
would
you.
gladly.
Wonderful. Thank you. And that's it for today's episode of AI Interconnect. And if you enjoyed it, share it with someone who's building the future, or better yet, someone who should be. And until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and keep building. Thank you, Chen.